I'm Soy Canela, reporting for Kids First, and today I'm delighted to talk to director Robert Chandler for his new animated film, The Canterville Ghost, which comes from the original short story from Oscar Wilde. It's such a pleasure talking to you. Huge congratulations with this film. It was so delightful to watch this, not only because of the visuals and how gorgeous it was, but also because of how gracefully it was crafted. So, huge congratulations.
Thank you so much. That's lovely to hear. You put so much into these things. It's so lovely to hear people responding. So thank you.
Of course. And this film is based on Oscar Wilde's humorous short story. And so when you created this reinterpretation, what did you want to bring, especially to the new generations?
Yeah, we love Oscar Wilde, and it's a short story. And I guess the clue is that it is a short story. There are lots of things that aren't said in that story, and a couple of extra things that we wanted to take out. So we didn't really go to the films. There have been several film adaptations. We didn't really go to those. We went back to the source, as you should, and we decided, we can lose one of the characters here. That will increase the drama between Virginia and Sir Simon, and so on. So we made those sort of regular things that adapting any book or story does. But fundamentally, Zoe, we wanted to show what went on at the end of the story, where Oscar does not tell us what happens between Virginia and Sir Simon when they go to the Garden of Death, as Oscar calls it, to plead with the Grim Reaper for the curse to be lifted on Canterville. He does not tell us. In the story, Virginia says she marries Henry, and Henry asks her what happened, and she still won't tell him. She says, maybe one day we can tell the children. So, and you think, oh, well, what did happen? And of course, I think the job in terms of making a film about that is to show what happened in that garden.
Absolutely. And I love so many different aspects of this film, like the animation, as you said, the story. I think the storytelling was beautifully and very well executed. And I also really like the voices. And was
Yes.
it hard to cast such an exceptional cast that you had, like Hugh Laurie, Stephen Fry, and Imelda Staunton? And how was it working with such amazing people?
And part of the fun of directing voices for animation is telling actors to overact in front of a camera, because I do live action and animation. If you're in with a camera, you often tell them to turn it down a bit, please. Up close, turn it right down. In animation, it's the opposite. And after a while, the actors, they let go, and you say, come on, go bigger, go larger, give us more. And of course, it's great. It's like they're on stage and they're projecting everything, and that's much more fun than turning it down. So if you get it right, then it will reward you in your film.
Of course, and also I love Virginia and her character and how she's so determined, and again her qualities that she brings. And I also love Sir Simon de Canterville. I think he's such an interesting character. So how is it creating a character that's like a ghost, but he's charming and he's funny and he's wise, but kind of spooky and noble at the same time?
And then that's the fun of it, creating Sir Simon. And another change we made to the story was that Oscar had Sir Simon kill his wife, and we didn't want that. We wanted people to empathize with Simon, and so we had him accidentally killing his wife through his own vanity, and that for us added a tragic depth to the character. And so you try and build characters that have the depths and the opposites, and Sir Simon can be joyful, but then we mustn't forget that he's been haunting that place for 300 years. And what that really means is he hasn't seen his wife for 300 years, and he loves her. And that's a big thing for him. And we wanted to fill that. It's not something we're taking lightly. And I think that is something I hope comes across from what I do as a producer, is never mock characters' desires, what they want. It's really important. Doesn't matter if they're animated or they're a superhero or they're something that you would not see in everyday life. It doesn't matter.
Yes, I think that's also a beautiful part of this film, that there's so many different aspects that many people can relate to. And as a young female, I think Virginia, again, she's such a, everything you described is such a powerful and strong
Yeah.
character presented in the film. And I also, touching into what you were saying earlier, I think this film, what I took away from it is how we can kind of be kidnapped by our guilt in our past,
Yes.
and how modernity can help us embrace our past. So what other messages do you think for younger kids do you think that are most relevant for the younger ones watching?
As the older you get, the more you realize how precious time is, how precious people are, how precious the world is. Right now, the world's going up in flames. It's terrible what's happening in many parts of it. And why are we doing that to ourselves as people? It often defies belief. When you're young, you sort of don't see that. Or by the time you reach your teenage years and adolescence, maybe you're impassioned with a belief that just doesn't see or take time to look at things, to look at the sunset, to look at your friends, your family, your dog, whatever one loves, and to appreciate it. And as you get older, the sense of time passing accelerates because it's relative. When you're 11, you've only been alive 11 years, and there's this great sort of expanse in front of you. As you get older, you see that expanse getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and you think, oh my goodness, I must make the most of this. And often you wish you'd done things differently when you were younger because you had no cares, you had no sense of time passing. And so, sorry to over elaborate, but that to me is the theme of the film. And Death himself says it to Virginia and Henry through the hourglass. Make the most of it. And when you're young and people say that, it sounds a bit cliched, and yeah, sure, I'll make the most of it, but we really mean it. Do make the most of it. Do take time out. Do value people of all kinds, all persuasions, whatever. We're all people, and the film is saying that. This is a glorious place we're on this planet. Please let's make the most of it.
And I think that's beautiful because I think that's something that younger kids are going to be able to grasp very well and understand that, unlike, super complex message. And it's also fun and it's kind of lighthearted and it's refreshing for adults and for older people who also like to get back in touch with that sense. And also, before we end, I need to talk about the visuals and the camera because I thought it was beautiful. One of my favorite scene, like the locket with the pop-up book. Wow, that was such a beautiful, beautiful scene that I think was technically so amazing. So how was it with like, did you determine that you wanted the camera to kind of move like the ghost? And that's how I saw kind of throughout the film.
It is lovely. Backstory and exposition is like a dirty word in screenwriting. Of course it is. No one really needs to be told what's already happened in the past. But we do in this case. And how can we do this creatively and in a way that it represents Sir Simon? And so we gave him that locket that opens up, and it's like painted enamel with the characters moving around, and it allows us to tell that story. And then so you're dealing with something very tragic, the drowning of his wife, and by in animation that's pretty strong, but by putting it within the sort of that illustrated character receding into the darkness within the locket, it allows you to have some distance from it while still feeling how powerful that moment is. And we also recognize that that locket, and it's very mechanical. You can hear the clockwork. And again, that was a deliberate choice because it reflected Sir Simon. It was his wife's locket. It's in anguish. But it's the past. It's those old clockwork mechanisms. And Mr. Otis makes it very clear the future's here with electricity. Here am I with candles alight in the room. But Mr. Otis brings his electricity and says, no, the future is here. I represent the future. And Sir Simon has to wonder if he has a place in this. And for me, that's why the locket becomes quite poignant. You've got all those different levels. It represents the past. It represents the clockwork. But it also represents his wife and therefore his relationship. So Sir Simon really feels that. And he gets down. He gets really down. And of course, Virginia saves him. It gives him somewhere to go, and it allows her to pull him out.
The Canterville Ghost is available for purchase or rent across all major entertainment platforms, beginning December 5th, 2023. I'm Ashley, reporting for Kids First. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on the latest news about kid and family entertainment.